Welcome to this session on AML compliance. Today, we examine how real estate and high-value assets are used in money laundering. Core idea: these assets are attractive due to their capital-intensive nature, opaque pricing, and reputation as legitimate investments. Why it matters: unlike financial instruments, these assets often receive fragmented oversight from various intermediaries like agents and lawyers. These methods typically fall within the integration phase, where illicit funds are converted into tangible assets to maintain their value. Let's look at the practical application and the methods used to exploit these high-value markets. Practical application: valuation manipulation, opaque ownership structures, and exploiting regulatory gaps in reporting. Example scenario: a shell company purchases a luxury penthouse at an inflated price to integrate large sums of cash into the legitimate economy. Understanding these vulnerabilities is key to effective AML oversight. Thank you for joining this training session. In this session, we explore how the art and collectibles markets pose high AML risks due to subjective pricing and limited reporting. Core idea: criminals conduct transactions within closed networks or overpay for artworks to effectively legitimize their illicit gains. Why it matters: cross-border transfers and storing art in free ports can hide ownership details and significantly complicate regulatory oversight. Undervalued customs declarations are often used to move value across borders without attracting the attention of regulatory authorities. Let's examine the practical application of new AML regulations requiring art dealers to perform enhanced due diligence on all payments. Practical application: monitor art payments, identify third-party ownership, and flag unusual logistical arrangements. Example scenario: a high-value painting is purchased through an auction house by an anonymous bidder using offshore funds to integrate illicit wealth. Robust compliance in the art and collectibles market is vital for modern AML oversight. Thank you for completing this 9th module. In this session, we examine how cash and cash-equivalent payments are used in real estate deals to decrease transparency and complicate audit trails. Core idea: payments like cashier's checks and money orders can hide the true source of funds, allowing illicit capital to be injected directly into high-value assets. Why it matters: intermediaries like lawyers often manage settlement accounts, which can distribute responsibility and mask the origin of layered payments. These methods effectively break the financial audit trail, making it extremely difficult for investigators to trace the flow of illicit money. Let's look at the practical application of AML controls and the importance of verifying the origin of funds for every transaction. Practical application: verify the origin of funds, examine all payment methods, and perform increased due diligence on unexplained funding. Example scenario: a property purchase is settled using multiple money orders from different banks to stay below reporting thresholds and conceal the total cash used. Ensuring payment transparency is essential for robust AML compliance. Thank you for completing this 7th module. In this session, we examine how free ports and bonded storage facilities, while legitimate for logistics, can be exploited to hide high-value assets. Core idea: these facilities enable assets to be stored with deferred taxes and minimal disclosure, often hiding value beyond effective oversight. Why it matters: criminals can hold assets indefinitely by transferring ownership on paper without moving them, layering beneficial ownership over time. This allows for the seamless transfer of illicit wealth between parties while the physical assets remain stationary and hidden from view. Let's look at the practical application of regulatory guidance and the criteria for evaluating transactions involving these high-risk facilities. Practical application: ensure clarity of ownership, verify asset origin, and demand clear economic justification for the storage. Example scenario: a high-value diamond collection is transferred through 5 different legal entities within a free port, all without ever leaving the secure vault. Maintaining transparency and high-security storage is a vital component of asset-based AML oversight. Thank you for completing this module. In this session, we explore how criminals acquire real estate through legal entities like corporations and trusts to conceal beneficial ownership. Core idea: these setups hide who is truly in control, making it significantly harder for law enforcement to trace assets. Why it matters: property records often show only the legal entity. When combined with offshore registration, the actual individuals involved remain invisible. This entity-based ownership is particularly effective when using nominee structures to distance the criminal from the asset. Let's look at the practical application of transparency rules and the role of professionals in identifying controlling persons. Practical application: identify controlling persons, perform enhanced due diligence, and ensure transparency in all deals. Example scenario: a commercial office park is acquired by a series of shell companies registered in different jurisdictions to mask the ultimate owner. Vigilance regarding beneficial ownership is essential for modern AML compliance. Thank you for completing this module. In this session, we examine how luxury assets like yachts, aircraft, and high-end vehicles are used as effective stores of value for illicit funds. Core idea: these assets are attractive due to their portability and prestige, allowing criminals to store value outside conventional financial systems. Why it matters: ownership is often registered through entities in jurisdictions with limited transparency, making it difficult for authorities to trace these assets. Upon resale, the illicit value is converted into seemingly legitimate gains, effectively layering the original source of the funds. Let's look at the practical application of AML frameworks and the warning signs to watch for when these high-value assets change hands. Practical application: examine source of wealth, verify ownership structures, and monitor for quick asset turnovers. Example scenario: a private jet is purchased through an offshore trust and sold months later, with the proceeds transferred to a legitimate business account. Vigilance in high-value asset markets is a critical component of a comprehensive AML strategy. Thank you for completing this module. In this session, we examine how mortgage financing can be exploited to conceal illegal funds by blending loan proceeds with illicit payments. Core idea: criminals may use illicit funds for down payments or quickly repay loans to create a record of seemingly lawful debt service. Why it matters: this method leverages property equity and refinancing. After selling or refinancing, the resulting proceeds appear clearly legitimate. Refinancing allows illicit value to be extracted as clean cash, successfully integrating it into the formal economy. Let's look at the practical application of AML screening and how to identify atypical mortgage repayment patterns. Practical application: evaluate origin of down payments, monitor for atypical repayment patterns, and flag early payments without clear income. Example scenario: a borrower takes out a large mortgage and repays it in full within a year using unexplained cash, legitimizing the funds through the home's sale. Careful evaluation of repayment patterns is vital for detecting mortgage-based money laundering. Thank you for completing this module. In this session, we examine how precious metals and stones, such as gold and diamonds, serve as compact, high-value stores of wealth for illicit funds. Core idea: criminals move these assets discreetly across borders or convert illegal funds into highly fungible commodities to store and protect value. Why it matters: informal markets and fragmented supply chains increase risk. Mixing legitimate and illicit assets makes provenance verification extremely difficult. The lack of transparency in global trading networks allows illicit metals and stones to be layered into the legitimate market. Let's look at the practical application of AML standards for dealers and the necessity of enhanced due diligence in these high-risk sectors. Practical application: perform enhanced due diligence, monitor all transactions, and scrutinize sources and counterparties. Example scenario: a dealer receives a large cash payment for gold bullion from an offshore company without a clear business rationale or proof of wealth. Strict monitoring of precious metals and stones is a vital line of defense in global AML efforts. Thank you for completing this 10th module. In this session, we examine how property flipping is used to transform transactions and incorporate illicit funds into the legitimate economy. Core idea: property flipping involves buying and selling real estate quickly. Criminals use rapid transactions to convert illicit funds into seemingly legitimate gains. Why it matters. Artificial price inflation can occur via related party transactions. Every sale adds another layer of legitimacy, making tracing difficult. Manipulated appraisals often support these price increases, creating a paper trail of profit that appears to come from market appreciation. Let's look at the practical application of AML frameworks and the specific red flags associated with rapid resale activity. Practical application: monitor rapid resale activity, scrutinize related party transactions, and flag price changes lacking market justification. Example scenario: a property is bought and sold 3 times in 6 months between associated companies, each time increasing in value to wash illicit cash. Detecting these artificial cycles is crucial for stopping the layering stage of money laundering. Thank you for completing this module. In this session, we examine how manipulating property values is a common and effective method used in money laundering. Core idea: overvaluing properties introduces additional funds disguised as legitimate prices, while undervaluing facilitates concealed transfers or reduces taxes. Why it matters. Valuation subjectivity, especially for luxury or unique assets, creates opportunities for misuse as appraisals can be selectively acquired. This subjectivity allows appraisals to be influenced or manipulated to suit the needs of the money launderer. Let's look at the practical application of AML controls and how to identify suspicious deviations from market benchmarks. Practical application: examine market benchmarks, identify large deviations, and require clear justifications for price anomalies. Example scenario: a luxury property is purchased at a significantly inflated price, allowing the buyer to integrate millions in illicit funds into the legal economy. Thorough price scrutiny is a cornerstone of effective real estate AML oversight. Thank you for completing this module. In this session, we focus on a common laundering method: the direct purchase of residential or commercial property using illegal funds. Core idea: funds can be injected as cash through wire transfers or via intermediaries before the property acquisition. Why it matters. Real estate transactions establish a strong legitimacy effect. Once purchased, ownership appears as a credible indication of wealth. Gradually, property appreciation helps incorporate illicit value into the formal economy, making it harder to trace. Let's examine the practical application of AML frameworks and the red flags to watch for during transactions. Practical application: unclear funding sources, prices significantly above market levels, and buyers unable to justify income. Example scenario: a high-value property is purchased with funds from an offshore account that cannot be clearly traced to a legitimate business activity. Thorough scrutiny of funding sources is vital for AML compliance. Thank you for participating in this session.
Thank you for watching this lesson. If you found it helpful, please like the video and subscribe for more AML and compliance training. If you would like to earn an anti-money laundering certificate, please visit www.nasiacademy.ca. The first course is free and eligible for certification. I'll see you in the next lesson.